Tell the truth.
Welcome to Todd's Truth presents Creator Truth. And tonight my guest is going to be Russ Leach.
Hello.
Hi, Russ.
Hiya.
And this is our second attempt at doing this. As the first attempt we were going to have, my computer decided to crash. It took out 2 of my 3 hard drives in my computer, which I don't know how it did that. It's never happened to me before, ever. So it's good to finally have you on the show and get to talk to you.
Thank you. Nice to be here. Thanks for having me on.
Talking a lot on Twitter, the 2 of us, but this is the first time we've actually got a chance to talk. And I've seen you on other streams and promoting your Only Death Can Save Us. So I definitely wanted to have you on because I'm a big fan of yours and of your campaign. So can you give us a little bit of detail about yourself?
Sure. Yeah. Where do you want to start? Do you want some bio or just where I've been?
Yeah. Whatever.
Okay.
Yeah. Because I know quite a bit, but I'm not sure how, if our guests know much about you.
Okay. I like all comic book artists. I've loved comics since I was a kid. Wanted to do it, went to art school and was told I was not good enough, so don't bother. So I didn't. So I went off and had a career kind of, in design. Used to be called Paste Up when I was a kid. So when I first got to a studio, we used to use things called waxers. So you made artwork with a wax roll. Literally, it was hot wax. So you had the typography come out of a photographic reel, and you'd slice it up and you'd put it on the waxer, and then you'd lay it down on a board, and then you'd mark up the board with the tracing for 4-color print. So yes, I go that far back. So and I got involved with desktop publishing, all kinds of stuff. I ended up being an art director for retail companies, and so worked with people like Harrods, big Sony. I ended up working through different various mediums. I ended up doing an online, their first online product library at the end of the 90s when the .com bubble was set to burst. So I did quite a lot of things, but in mid 90s, I sent off. I was still so very keen on comics that I sent off submissions to America, to Marvel via the snail mail, and I got good responses back. I was taken, I was put on a list by the new talent manager, a guy called John Louis Lewandowski, I think it was. And so I was on the list and circled around the editors, but it didn't go anywhere. They requested Chapter 11 at the time. Things just didn't work out for me. So I went away and had a life and a mortgage and kids and stuff like that. I had my own business up until about 2008, where I was, it was all digital stuff. I was doing back-end work, but also UI design and stuff like that. And the business came to a natural end, and I had a choice. Do I carry on doing what I'm doing, or do I try and be an illustrator, freelance illustrator? So I decided that was what I was going to do, naively. Went off and yeah, still naive at that age. Went off and tried to do that. And I went freelance in 2010, and in 2012, after doing a few freelance gigs and getting a couple of indie books in the States, I decided I was going to really give it a go. So we sold up. And my wife was very supportive, and
that's always good.
Yeah, it's very good. Yeah, we got rid of the house and the mortgage, and we bought a smaller house in a further out location, so that I could invest effectively the money that was going into the mortgage. I could invest it in myself. So I took very low paying gigs. I took chances, and I went out and tried to find myself some work, and slowly built my way through the indie industry, and ended up getting a gig with Panini, which is the equivalent of Marvel UK. When Marvel UK went out of business, they sold effectively all the rights to repurposing Marvel stuff to Panini, who are a big European publisher. They're mostly famous for football cards or soccer cards. So they were doing, they got hold of a license for, or they'd had the license for Doctor Who, but there was another publication called Doctor Who Adventures, which is for the younger audience, and they'd gotten that from the BBC. And the guy that was there as the editor, a guy called Jason Quinn, who did some work with Campfire. He did the book on Gandhi and the Apple fella. I'm not very good with names. You'll work that out soon. And and he had some success there. But I actually worked with him on my first indie book, Fresh Out and Naive. I'd actually worked with him. He was the writer on it because he was looking around for work as well. So we bumped into each other, worked with each other, shared a few conversations backwards and forwards, and stayed sort of loosely in touch. Anyway, he introduced me to Tim Quinn, his brother, who used to be an editor at Marvel. And so I got working with Tim on different projects. So that sort of kept me busy. When Jason came back in 2015 to the UK, he got the job for Panini to edit for them. And originally he asked me to do some pages for a Digimon book, which I did a couple of pages for. And unfortunately that fell through because of the channel not getting it right, the TV channel. But then in January of 2015, they got the Doctor Who Adventures, and he asked me to draw on it, and that was it. So I'd actually got a professional gig, a pro gig, and I did that for about 2.5 years, and then I did about a year, just over a year, doing a Cartoon Network Ben 10 reboot comic for the UK. And during that time, I also picked up a gig for Marvel, where Marvel and Hachette is a European publisher that do a lot of part works. So build your own R2D2 or something like that.
Oh, okay, yeah.
And so over 100 issues, they were doing an homage to the old How to Draw the Marvel Way, and it's called Draw the Marvel Way. It's How to Draw Comics the Marvel Way, which is the fantastic book by John Buscema and Stan Lee, which I have a copy of. But they did their own sort of version of it, and it was a bi-weekly thing where there were 3 tutorials, or sort of two tutorials and one sort of tips and tricks and little bits and pieces spread. And I ended up doing the second tutorial and the tips spread for 90 odd issues.
Wow.
Over a 4-year period. And the other guy that done the work on it was Mike Collins, who had worked for Marvel and DC and was a bit of a legend. He'd done a lot of Doctor Who work as well. Absolutely lovely fella. And he does storyboards as well. So I kind of followed him and did some storyboards myself, not in the same area, but it was a bit of an inspiration there. So I managed to work on those things, but soon realized that once those things ended, that was it. It's just like you're only as good as your last gig,
right?
And in this world, it was like I was anonymous, completely anonymous, because I wasn't doing American comics. I'd been doing this European stuff, and it didn't matter that I was going through the Marvel editorial team. I was completely unknown, so it didn't get me any more work, unfortunately. After that time, I did some storyboarding. I'm still involved in a project. Unfortunately, the COOF has put it off by a year, but I'd done 85% of the storyboards for a film that's being produced at the moment, but also did some advertising stuff and different bits and pieces. Did some independent comics for a guy called JD Rosario that does Unstoppable comics. He hails out of New York, absolutely brilliant fella. And Unstoppable Comics was doing diversity long before Marvel thought it was a good idea. Proper diversity. And he's great. Love working with him. So I did some work there. I got another special on Doctor Who and bits and pieces. And in the end, I thought, no, I could see what was happening to the industry as well. All this time, I was keeping my eye on what was going on and the bullshit that was occurring, because it seems that the world gets crazier and crazier every day. And I thought, well, no, it's time that I jumped in fully and had my own intellectual property. So I wrote a script, which was The Emissary. which was a bit of a love letter to Marvel, like 70s Marvel. In particular, a book called Judgment Day, and I wanted to do a graphic novel that was a single panel per page, but it was still sequential art.
Right.
So I wrote this book and was quite pleased with it, but I didn't think it was really the kind of thing that was going to. I wanted something to punch out, I wanted something to be punchy and kind of. So I came up with another name. I wanted to find something that was immediately recognizable, but at the same time, nobody had done what I'd done with it. So Death came to mind. I love Thor and Fantastic Four and all that kind of stuff. And the Stalin stuff as well, the Cosmic Cube. And I wanted to get this kind of a Pantheon of the Gods kind of feel, but at the same time, a very cosmic sci-fi air. So I went for it, wrote the story, and the rest is history. I just decided to bring it to market, and thank you everybody who's backed it. I've had a great time.
Yeah, it's a great book, and it's already fulfilled. So here's mine.
It is. It's out there. It's in demand. You can go get a copy. There are still plenty left. There's not many magnets left though.
Oh, yes. That by 6 a.m. Thought so. It looked like his work. It looked like his work.
It's a lovely little like sort of chibi sort of thing.
Yeah.
So I will be knocking up 6 a.m. again because there are several other characters I'd quite like for the second campaign. So.
Oh yeah. Like all the rest of them. Because that'd be nice to have a set of them, because the whole group was awesome. Let's quickly let me thank everybody who's here right now. Hockey's here, Jim Cox is here, Darren Wagner, Mo Biggs,
Mo,
Black Rose Comics. Corey Barton is here. Hey, Corey. And that's everybody who's here right now. Good. Okay,
that's a big enough audience.
Yeah. So how did you like doing the Doctor Who stuff?
Yeah, it was good fun. I surprised myself. It was far more enjoyable than I thought it was going to be. Obviously, like at the time, it was like, oh my God, I've got Doctor Who to do. It's like Doctor Who's it's the British equivalent of Mickey Mouse. Right. Everybody knows who Doctor Who is. Well, everybody thought they knew what Doctor Who was.
Let's not talk about that now.
So I thought, this is what a fantastic opportunity, and also Peter Capaldi was great fun to draw. I was away with it. I was really happy, but like I say, because of the nature of the magazine, the nature of the publication, I was pretty much anonymous as far as the wider industry was concerned. So it didn't do for me what I thought it was going, what I hoped it was going to do. A lot of the time, we hear a lot of people talking about how do you get into comics, and the classic is, well, everybody gets into comics in a different way. Everybody has a different journey. There is no how do you get into comics. There are some things you can do that help you make the journey, but everybody's got a different journey. And so from my perspective, I thought, damn, I'm doing Doctor Who, like I say, as a massive brand, but it didn't do the trick. It got me another gig at Panini, which is brilliant, but it didn't crack any nuts as far as it was concerned. So I had to crack that nut for myself, which is why I ended up doing my own thing. But the actual,
which is strange, because you think, like you said, Doctor Who would have done that.
You would have thought,
Being that it's that big and that big of an IP, that it would have kicked open all kinds of doors for you.
Yeah, you would have thought that. Funnily enough, the people, I never got onto Titan. I never got on a Titan title, and like those guys over there, that they were known because Titan was being published, for American for the American market, but no, just nowhere. Anyway, that was how it worked. But to answer your question, about the actual strip, I really enjoyed it, and I surprised myself by finding that actually doing the all ages stuff, which is what it was for all intents and purposes, was actually something I really, really enjoyed. My first graphic novel for Marcosia was a horror title, and I really enjoyed doing the horror work. It's called Terminus at Fenton's Green, and it's somewhere between sort of Cthulhu kind of stuff and the Jack the Ripper. And it's actually,
that's an interesting combination.
it's quite a fun story. A guy called Adam Chill wrote it. He got me into Marcosia. I had a couple of stories in an anthology, a British comics anthology that he did, and then he asked me if I'd jump on and do that graphic novel with him. And then after that, I did another graphic novel for Saiditan, and that's Sorry, it's up here. I'm really crap at names, like I said.
That's okay. Me too. I'm much better with faces than I would names.
There you go. It's the Indifference Engine. There you go. So if you ever see that, the Indifference Engine 2. Indifference Engine 2. That was not a bad book. It's I enjoyed doing that.
I'm gonna have to go hunt those down now.
Yeah, very you can buy them on Amazon.
Nice.
They're very sci-fi. Both of those are on. Well, I know for a fact that Terminus at Fenton's Green is on Amazon, and I'm pretty sure that one is as well. Or go to Marcosia's site. So I've kind of lost my. Oh, that's right. Yeah. So I was doing that kind of stuff, but I didn't realize just how much I'd enjoy the all ages stuff, and it was really good fun, and I kind of started getting to connect with the inspirations I'd had as a kid. So in sort of late 70s, the first comic I ever had was a comic called Stalker by DC. And the first comic I remember buying for myself with my own money was Captain Britain Weekly, which was by Marvel UK. And that had reprints in it. So quite apart from the stellar artwork and the great story that the original Captain Britain, not a fan of the Excalibur stuff. I
wonder why.
just not a fan of the Excalibur stuff. But the reprints they had in there, they had Kirby, Buscema, Palmer, I think. Certainly Joe Sinnott's run on the Fantastic Four. They also had reprints of Steranko, Nick Fury, and then they had reprints of various Avengers, Doctor Strange, and all that kind of stuff. And it totally hooked me. That was it. I was done. Later on came 2000 AD, which I loved. But I was hooked by the Marvel stuff, and hooked by that particular kind of Bronze Age feel. And so when I got
when it was really good stuff, yeah,
when it was brilliant, when I got into doing the all ages Doctor Who stuff, I kind of started connecting again. So, for instance, in 95 or 94, 95, whatever it was, I wanted to be Jim Lee. I mean, everybody wanted to be Jim Lee. And only Jim Lee can be the best Jim Lee that there is in Jim Lee world. So
it was either Jim Lee or McFarlane. That's what everyone wanted to be.
Exactly.
One of those two.
Yeah. And I that's the work that I did was that kind of style. I was trying to do that, and that was the stuff that was accepted, and I would imagine a lot of people were accepted. I think I didn't even get an answer from DC, and Image said they liked what I did, so that's probably there you go. But I did realize that wasn't me. I was trying to be something else. A lot of artists go through that, where they kind of replicating other things,
right? Yeah.
And it's easy to be sort of all shiny. I'll put that in my style, and it doesn't necessarily mean it works. But I connected with those comics that I'd remembered as a kid, and I started buying a lot of reprints at the time, and I realized what I wanted to do, and that's where the real the origin of the style that I currently have, that's where it started, really. All that time, I got myself a Cintiq in 2008 because I wanted to look at illustrating. And I've been inking all that time, inked most of the book for Only Death Can Save Us. Obviously, there are pages that I did traditionally. And now I've decided that I'm most likely going to ink the second book completely traditionally. So I pencil digitally, and then ink traditionally. So I print it out
Oh.
onto a board, and So and that's what I believe you got a piece of the artwork, didn't you?
Yes.
Yeah, that's what it is. It's penciled digitally and then inked with brush.
Oh.
So it's a proper real piece of artwork.
Yeah. That's really awesome that you can do that now. Before it was either, you had to do it all one way, or you had to do it.
Yeah.
You had to do it all traditional, or you had to do it all digital.
That's right. And I mean, the way I see digital pencils is it's no different to drawing on a light box. So the way you used to pencil out stuff traditionally, you'd do a panel, and if you liked it and it was maybe too big or something wasn't quite working, you'd photocopy it, and you'd take it out of the photocopier and you'd reduce it or whatever and put it back on the light box and then trace over the top of it. And that worked really well. But of course, you do that in layers now in Clip Studio or in Photoshop, whatever you're using. I used Photoshop for the longest time until I was converted to Clip Studio, and now I know that Clip Studio is just the best. So
you're not the only one that says that now. I hear lots of digital people say, "Oh no, Clip Studio."
Clip Studio is absolutely fantastic. But I've found myself veering, and what I've been a little bit OCD with this for the longest time, and a lot of artists have the same issues as I do. I know I'm not on my own by asking other people. So my thing was getting lines really smooth and tight, but I've realised that I may be losing some energy with those tight lines. So what I'm now pushing is I'm getting the same sort of pencils. So I'm pushing the style of my lines, but I'd quite like to see how a brush does that. And that's why I've started doing the more traditional work. But it's kind of flipped on its head. A lot of people do traditional pencils and then ink them digitally. But I don't want, and something I feel I've been relatively successful at is not making my digital inking look particularly mechanical. A lot of people have asked me, well, what have you used? And I've told them they're very surprised that they're not traditional ink. So that I'm quite pleased with that, but now I want to take it that next stage, and I want some wavy lines. I want a little bit. I'm trying to get as much. Basically, I'm trying to extract as much energy out of a page as I can possibly get. And it's always the case. I was listening to David Lloyd talk about this when he was talking about a cover he'd done. Is that every time you put another layer on, you lose a little bit of energy. So you do that quick sketch, and there's all this energy, but there's no form. And then you tighten down the pencils, and then you put the inks on, and then you put the color on. Every time you're kind of lowering the energy scale. So if there's any way that I can keep that going in the pages, that's what I'm looking for.
Nice. I'm just learning digital. So it was recommended to me by Dan Frega to use my iPad Pro with Procreate. Before getting into some of the expensive stuff to learn how to do it. So I've been learning how to use Procreate on my iPad Pro, and he was right. It's a really good program. And he said that there was a screen protector for it that actually makes it feel like drawing on paper.
I've heard that. Yes, I've seen people talk about that. And
I just ordered that because he told me about it about a week ago. So I just ordered it. I haven't put it on my iPad yet to see.
Cool.
But it is weird when you're so used to drawing with pencils or lead and you try to draw on a screen and you're like, this just doesn't, it feels weird.
The first pens I used for my Wacom had hard nibs, and they actually scratched the screen. And that's how crap that they designed it.
Yeah.
But when I got my second one, they turned because it used to have like a rough texture on the outside, and they turned the glass around, and now it doesn't have that rough texture, so it's very, very difficult to scratch. But I also use a fiber tip on the end of my pen.
Oh, okay.
And actually, that gives a little bit of texture to what you're doing. My daughter has an iPad with Procreate. She's doing a degree in architecture at the moment, and she's absolutely swears by it. She loves it. She draws great stuff.
So far, I'm liking it, except for that feel. That's why when he told me about the screen protector, that he said it'll make it feel like paper. I was like, oh, okay, I got to try that because that might feel a little bit better than trying to draw on the screen, and it feels really weird.
Yeah, I'm tempted at some point just to get it for the hell of it.
Yeah. 'Cause I already had the iPad, so Frege was like, well, why don't you get Procreate and use it and try that? Because that way you can get used to it without putting out money for a Cintiq or something else.
Yeah. The Cintiqs are extremely expensive, but you do have options now. You don't have to get the Cintiq anymore. I mean, it is the top. It is the best. But it's like what, $2,000 or something. So there are others out there that are much less. I don't know the brand names off the top of my head, but there are a couple that it's definitely worth looking at if it's something you want to start doing. And they're sort of literally like somewhere between 25 and 50% of the price.
Oh wow.
So, yeah, I mean, a massive difference. Okay, you don't get quite as much of the same pressure degrees, but they're still pretty good screens. It's definitely, if people are out there looking for that, it's worth researching.
Yeah, that is one of the weird things on the Procreate app is that because you're drawing on the screen. Is for me, anyways. It's first I'm starting off drawing, going, wait, nothing's appearing. Where's the line? And then I realized that you've got to push like paper, where you have to push down. The harder you push, the more it.
Yeah, you get that. You get those levels of pressure, and it does make a difference to the way you draw. Definitely.
Yeah, I was kind of like doing it very delicately because I'm like, I don't want to break my screen. Not thinking that you can add pressure to this thing. But yeah, let's talk about your campaign too, since.
Oh,
it's
right.
Still
yes, it's still in demand. It's still there. I'm probably going to leave it up for a little while. As like I say, I'm looking at a second book campaign in the summer, and also, I'm going to be doing this project that will be announced next week. So hopefully, other people will hear about my book through the new project, and you never know, maybe I'll get some more backers. The fact that I hit 211, I'm just absolutely stunned by. I'm just so pleased with that.
Well, from what we're seeing from other creators, it's that first book, and then each book after that, their backers list is going up because people know who you are, they know you can fulfill, and so they're they get excited for your next project. And I am because after reading your first book, like I told you before we came on, that ending was, I was like, oh, what? Because you didn't see it coming.
No, I don't. No, I don't. I mean, I'd seen it coming for months.
Well, yeah, but if you're reading it,
yes,
you're
I
like,
can
when you get to the very end, you flip that last. You're what?
I wanted to, like, it wasn't just the artwork that I wanted to give. That I wanted to pay homage to the things that inspired me, but also the story. So I wanted it to be something that you could pick up and read and have fun with on its own.
Mm-hmm.
But at the same time, have that kind of pulpy, sequential sort of like, not so much a cliffhanger, but be able to enjoy the story, come in at any time. So, for instance, you could technically buy the second book and not buy the first book and still have fun with it and not be confused too much by it, because those characters will come in and you'll get I won't be doing any X-Men in the previous issue rubbish for 6 pages of graphics, but it'll be like those issues where you refer back, but at the same time you don't have to go back. So at any point in time, when I was a kid, you could go pick up a Spider-Man book and you could enjoy that issue of Spider-Man without having bought the 300 issues prior to it. And once you got into it, you could then go back and buy those issues if you wanted to. But they were instantly accessible, and that's what I want to make all 3 books. It's a 3-book arc, and then after that, who knows? But as far as the campaign is concerned, I'm stunned at the response, and hopefully, like you say, once you've got a book out there, you've fulfilled, and people trust you as a creator. Hopefully, I can increase that back account. Yeah, from my own perspective, I mean, part of selling up was that if I get to the giddy heights of 500 backers, then I don't need to do anything else. I can just do this.
I didn't want to do any spoilers. That's why I was dancing around it. So get the book and read it, and then you'll know what I'm talking about. Yeah.
Get the book and read it. Like I said, there's 8. I think there's 8 magnets left. And they are very cool magnets. They are good. They are fun magnets.
8 left. Yes.
Yeah, 8 left, and there's a sticker in there as well. And also, I because they aren't
And like
part.
I mentioned earlier, everybody, the sticker or the magnet is by 6 a.m. Comics.
Yeah,
So if it looks
it
like
is.
his work, it is.
It is. Yeah, a fabulous job he did as well. I didn't quite reach because I wanted to use that 6 a.m. art as a fabric patch. I wanted to have a patch, but I didn't quite reach the goal. So instead, I thought, damn it, I've got the artwork. Everybody should have one. So I printed them up and made them magnets. Then I put a sticker in everyone, and also everybody got a signed black and white print of Chrissy, the key, as well. So I just wanted to say thanks. Chuck that in because everybody had supported the book, and it didn't take an awful lot to do that. So next campaign, I've got to make sure that that everybody gets good value for money as well. I unfortunately, because of the currency fluctuations, the book went over $25. I think it was 26, and on occasion 27. So next time I will be lowering the price to absolutely guarantee that $25 cap.
And now it's at 28.
Yeah, I mean that's
the currency differences.
It's hugely annoying, but I'll be. It's £20 in the UK, so I'll be probably hitting the £18. But it did go up to 96 pages, so you do get quite a bit of book for your money.
Oh yeah,
and that won't change. It
look,
will be.
Here's mine. I mean, look how thick it is.
It will be at least 96 pages next time as well, and there will be more pages of strip as well. So I've just put my. I'm creating 3 backup strips. They're called Horseman's Tales, and they're mostly about war. And the first one of those you can go and see in black and white in the new Arrow Comics 4.0. They're coming back, Arrow Comics, and they're putting together an anthology, and it will be on Indiegogo in March. It's part of Indie Vault, who are a radio station. They do some great stuff. And my 7-page story is in there in black and white, but it will also be in color and some extra bits and pieces in issue 2. So basically book 2 of Only Death Can Save Us. And then there will be further backup stories in the 3rd book. So that effectively means you're going to get about, and potentially for some other reasons, which I can't go into, you could potentially be getting 72 pages of strip in the next book. And like I say, I'll be keeping that. I want to cap it at $25. So I'm trying to give as much back to everybody as I possibly can and keep those. I can't do anything about the postage, although to be honest, the postage wasn't terrible. It could have been a lot worse. I know that I pay a lot of postage to get books from the States, but most of the time it's worth it because I've backed some fantastic books, and been very pleased with what I've received. And the difference with backing books like this, you kind of feel part of the process, and you feel like you're getting or hopefully I've made people feel like they've got a premium product. So.
Or like you did, and I've seen several other books did, and I got that tier as well for your book, was to get your name in the book.
Yeah.
So that makes you feel like, oh, look, my name's in the book.
Yeah.
Makes you feel even more like you're a part of it.
Exactly. Yeah. You just feel like part of the team. And something that I did do was also, because I think your name may well have been in the subcategory of On Their Way to Nirvana.
Yes.
Yes, that's because you'd bought some art as well. So basically, there was that tier that if you wanted your name in the book, but also anybody that had laid down a fair chunk of money on a piece of art, I also wanted to say thank you to them as well. So, and the fact that I got to say thank you to Mike Collins, the other Doctor Who artist, legendary Marvel artist in my book, was a very cool thing for me.
Yeah, that is. Wow. So. And I've seen other people in the chat saying too, and I agree. I love your interpretation of the 4 Horsemen, and Death looks your interpretation of these guys in your way. And Death, they all look awesome. When you
Thank
get to
you.
the first few pages where they're all standing there together, it's that I love that look. And I said it before on things. I'm a big fan of flipping the script on
Right.
things. And I love this book for that, because you took the four horsemen of the apocalypse and made them the heroes. And I love that.
Yeah, I wanted death. That's the one thing is like we're all standing on the shoulders of giants. So the people that have come before us in the comic book industry, you can't better them. You can't match them. All you can do is use what they've given you, and that's what I tried to do. I tried to use what they gave me as inspiration to move on and do something slightly different. Death. Funnily enough, there were 3 or 4 books at the same time that had death in, but none of them did it quite the way I'd done it. And that's the point. Nothing under the sun is ever original. It's how you do it. It's how you present it. So I presented it in that pantheon of the gods kind of, classic Bronze Age Marvel, but then made them the heroes, made them the good guys. That effectively they are the columns of existence. They're the protectors of our universe, or they're at least the protection of the beginning of our universe. Yeah, and so that's what I wanted to kind of do, in the fact that death isn't what you think he is, right? And you kind of got to work that out through the book, and then,
I love your design that you didn't go with the traditional death and the robe and the bony thing, and he's this big guy with muscles and just the skull, but he still carries the scythe.
If you take a look, there are a couple of clues, visual clues in the book where you can see that it's not quite what you think it is. The skull representation is purely coincidental, he does have a robe right at the start, but kind of quickly jumps out of that robe as soon as he can get his way out of the situation he's in. Which also is part of the characterization of him and how his character changes as he goes through the story with Chrissy. And that's where the essence of the story came from. I wanted him to change.
And you can see other things and people changing it too.
There's all kinds of things going on from that perspective. The next book will be more bonkers.
More.
It's more. It's just like ramped it up. I've just ramped it up again. So there's going to be bigger fights and more madness. And it's a slight detour, and then back to finish the arc off in the third book. So hopefully people will enjoy it.
So you said that earlier or maybe it was when we were talking offline, that you came up with the story arc, the arc of it, and then you have a writer that writes the script for you, and then you're doing all the artwork.
So in the first book, I wrote the whole script, start to finish, did the whole thing, and then spoke to Rick about it, and he offered his services, of which I was very grateful. He came in, he changed a couple of the plot points, almost like an editor. And then also rewrote maybe 2/3 of the dialogue. Some of it to fit the plot points, and some of it just to smooth it over. He gave his experience to me because I'm a newbie writer. And then on top of that, it's always
good to have a second set of eyes.
Exactly. And then on top of that, we had Tim Quinn, who effectively became like because Rick edited it himself to a degree and edited me. And then Tim kind of became like a senior editor, and he sort of overlooked the whole thing. So between us all and some beta, readers as well, we managed to nail it down. And now Rick is on board for the second book, so we're effectively co-writers on the second book. I've written out a sort of a rough plot as to where I want it to go, some ideas, and he's taking them away and is now putting them together into a formulation. Once he comes back with the way he's laid it out, we can talk about it, and then he'll do the dialogue, and then I can get on with pages.
Wow, nice. Well, let's in case anybody hasn't seen it, I wanted to play your trailer because I love your trailer.
Which one?
The first one here.
The long one.
Is this the long one?
Is it the one with all the voices in?
don't
Is
know
it
which.
is it the one where it has the Yeah, I think it's the first one.
Yeah, this is the
Yeah.
longer trailer because this is the short trailer here.
Yeah. The long trailer is the one that I got the voices from Fiverr. I went over to Fiverr and got some voice talent, and it was surprisingly cheap for all you people out there that want to make a video. Because I got some good responses about this video. My first video,
Mhm.
I had some help from Michael from over at the Lucent.
Bancroft, yeah.
Bancroft, Michael Bancroft. Absolutely top bloke. Really helpful. Thank you very much, Michael. And several other people as well helped me out, and sort of gave me feedback. And one of the things I said was like, make a shorter, snappier video, which I did. And then I also had some advice about, well, you might want to make a backup video that's like, that has some voice talent in it, and that shows some kind of quality to it, something slightly extra. And I did that, and I think it ended up costing me about $60 to get these voices doing what they've done here. And there's some quality voice on it. The main guy, the narrator, is from Denmark, and he did 3 versions of it. One that I chose, which is very narratory, but he also did this amazing sort of cinema one. This is the only film you watch this year, make sure you do it if your life depends on it. Really, really deep and gruff, and that was amazing, but I couldn't use that. It didn't work for the video. So but yeah, if anyone's out there and they want to make a video with voice talent, there's plenty of it at Fiverr, and it doesn't cost an arm and a leg.
Okay, you want me to play the longer one or the shorter one?
Play the longer one if you want. I don't mind, so as long as people aren't going to get bored with it.
20 billion years ago, as the second age gave way to the third, one last great war raged between Satana's forces of cruel chaos, who had ruled for a sliver of eternity, and the forces of order, who sought to remake things anew. The Supreme called her warlords the pillars of creation. Their purpose was not to bring apocalypse, but to welcome forth the new age. Over time, their true purpose would be forgotten, for such is the fate of legends, and only their names would be remembered. War, famine, pestilence, and death.
Damn, I loathe demons. Wretched things.
You preach to the converted, brother. Their vile number seems limitless. 6,666 by my count.
They have numbers, aye, but their arrogance will yet be their undoing. Mark my words, brothers.
You speak true, Sister Pestilence. Even now, our mistress builds a prison to house them. A prison of love. She asks only that we lead them there. This is the word.
Then let us draw succor from it.
And thus it came to pass that the third age began with the vanquishing of evil and the renewal of life. But evil is patient. It clings to the dark places and waits for its moment to strike.
We shall know glory this day, my brothers.
What was won that day was a battle, not the war. That would come later.
There we go. That is top it right there. So that is good. Death's voice is amazing. That is a great voice for Death.
I wanted him to be. It didn't quite get there, but I wanted him to. And they were talking about Pestilence. It's like, yeah, she didn't quite nail it like the others did.
Right.
He's wanted to be. I wanted him to be. I'm trying to remember the name. Ray Winston.
Okay.
That was how I imagined Death. That's how his voice was going in my head, was Ray Winston. So he kind of occasionally speaks colloquially, almost Cockney, but also has these kind of sort of godlike expressions as well. So I just wanted this weird mix for him. But yeah, that worked really well. The other trailer was a much shorter, snappier trailer. But yeah, I got some good responses. Certainly learned lots of stuff from this campaign. The one thing I won't be doing again is I won't be sending out A3 posters in. I won't be sending out A3 posters in tubes because it costs too much. So I won't be doing that again, unfortunately. So everybody who got a poster, I think yourself lucky.
That is the funny thing. When I got the package from you, I was like, oh, and I was taking some of the artwork that I got from you, and I was going to put it in a frame, and I'm like, oh, I forgot. They have different sizes.
Yeah, we do. Yeah,
wouldn't fit my 11 by 17 frames.
Sorry, man. Sorry.
So I ordered some A3 frames off of Amazon.
Yeah, Amazon is quite useful sometimes.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, your campaign, like you said, is still in demand, so it's still going. And then you're up to, like you said, 211 backers.
211. Yeah, I'm stunned by it. Yeah,
great.
For a first time out, considering, like I say, I was pretty much anonymous. I'm happy with that. From a business perspective, it's a good start. Like I say, 500 backers. If I can ever get to 500, that will mean I can continually do this stuff constantly. I won't have to go back to storyboarding, which is great.
I think this is a great start for you to get into the indies over here, and people are now knowing who you are, and you're appearing on more streams, and you've done some things like you were on Frega's Draw stream too, right?
Yeah, you did that. I really enjoyed that. Yeah,
I think you did Doctor Strange, right?
Yeah, I think I've got one. Desktop. I think I've got it. Hold on.
Yeah, I thought your Doctor Strange was awesome.
Yeah, I enjoyed doing it. I really enjoyed doing that with Frega. I mean, I had to be up very late for that.
Yeah,
that was a very late stream for me.
That's why I asked you what time was good for you, because I know from me. I'm in Florida, so it's a 5-hour time difference. So I'm like, hey, whatever works for you is best.
5 hours.
You're the one will have to be up late.
Yeah, 5 hours isn't so bad. I mean, we started at 11, and if we go on past 12, that's not a problem. That doesn't bother me. But sometimes, like for instance, when I was on Michael's show, I was up at 4 o'clock in the morning. And so sometimes I go on to some other shows over in the West, and Mountain Time as well, and they're at really weird times of the day for me. But you've got to do it. You've got to get out there and connect. I've got my own channel, but my channel is not. I don't do a lot of this kind of thing on my channel. I don't interview people or do any of that kind of stuff. It's all about the art production. So for a while there, I was kind of doing interviews and stuff with a guy called Lucifer Storm. He's got a book out at the moment as well, or he's got a campaign out at the moment. I'll just zoom in a little bit on that.
Look at. I saw that when you did it. I was like, oh my gosh, that looks awesome.
I had a really, like I said, I had a really good fun. Dan Frager is a proper artist. Do you know what I mean? He's like, I really like Dan. He's a really nice guy. Very, very friendly, very welcoming, and so was everybody on that night. And it was really worthwhile, staying up and doing that. So, like I say, I was doing that kind of stuff on another channel, and I will actually be joining somebody else to do that kind of show. Talk to other creators, because I'm always interested in what other people are doing. Talk to some creators and do some different bits and pieces. I'll be doing that on somebody else's show on a regular basis in a week or so's time. But my channel is more about, what I do, so the production process, how I put it together. But for instance, I will be putting up a video about what the lessons I've learned from my campaign, and so if anybody else can kind of learn from that and gain from it, then that's the whole point of like creator networks, is to share that kind of stuff. I think as far as competition is concerned, you put the competition in the book. You do the best you can make. You do the best work you can produce, the best stories that you can produce, and then let the market decide on that. But there's absolutely no harm in sort of helping other people up, and giving information freely. So my production, all of my production videos, I tend not to call them tutorials, because as far as I'm concerned, all it is just seeing the way I do something, and if that works for you, great, use whatever I've done. But I don't go around telling people how to do something, because so many people have got so many different ways of doing it.
Right. I think Mo Biggs agrees with you about the voice. He says, the voice acting is solid except Pestilence. She seems like she's waiting on an elevator instead of in a battle. Yeah, it was. I agree. I think that Death's voice, the way that you did that was, and War, I think were really, really good.
War nailed it. That guy he was a lovely guy, funny as well. And he was just like War. He was like a big black guy, like had fantastic voice, really gruff voice. And I showed him what I'd done with it as well. He was really pleased to see it. So it worked for the most part. So I'll see how that goes next time, and maybe do a similar thing. But like I say, it's the next book is going to be bigger. It's going to be, I hate the word wacky. It's just going to be more, and that's the idea. You want to up the tempo every time. I mean, you can't continually up it because it becomes ridiculous, but you do want to show something new. You want somebody to go, oh, it's not like the previous book. It is like the previous book, but it isn't. There's something else to it. It's not just another big fight. It's something different. But at the same time, having that same energy and excitement in it.
Well, as we see your, as I found out, I saw your campaign before on Indiegogo, but I was on the Rabbi stream.
Right. Okay.
And he promoted your book on his stream, and then that's where I found out about your secret tier, and I was like, "What?" Because he's a big Doctor Who fan as well.
Yeah,
that's why he.
Yeah.
And then when he told me about it, I was like, oh, "Wait, what?"
I stuck a load of stuff in for Doctor Who, didn't I?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then that's when I started promoting it too, because I was like, "No, this tier's too good. This tier has to sell out because he's putting some amazing stuff in it."
They did all go. Thank you very much for the help. They did all go, and people seem to like them. So say I got Andrew Cartmel to sign 3 posters or 3 art prints, or effectively the actual size prints of the artwork that we'd done for the Doctor Who Adventures series.
Mm-hmm.
And he did, I think it was 6 issues I did with Andrew Cartmel. For those who don't know, Andrew Cartmel was a big cheese in Doctor Who land. I think he was the producer or the director on the last series of Doctor Who before it went into hiatus, before it became New Who.
Okay.
So like lots of people love him. He's a very loved person in the Doctor Who family. The other thing I wasn't quite expecting was to be part of the Doctor Who family. So once you've done something officially for Doctor Who, there's a thing that comes with that. It's like an entry ticket. So I did several Doctor Who things, specific Doctor Who things. There was a Doctor Who. I don't know what you'd call it. I suppose it was like a convention, but it was just Doctor Who, and the actors were there and all that kind of stuff. And so I did a few of those things. But yeah, you kind of, the Doctor Who fans love you. Do you know what I mean? It's like they love everything Doctor Who, and you're part of that. So I wasn't quite expecting that. But yeah, I put that in because I had those available, and I thought there might be someone that might enjoy them. And the Rabbi's a nutter. He's a complete lunatic.
He's one of those people that if you feel like you don't have any energy, watch one of his streams and you'll become an Energizer bunny like him.
He's like a YouTube. Yeah, he's like a YouTube version of Dope or something. I don't know. He
has more energy than any person I've ever seen in my life.
sniff the rabbi, because that'll make it go longer. And after I'd spoken to the rabbi, and he said, come on the stream, and I came on the stream. He was extremely nice to me, lovely guy. I've done a couple other bits and pieces for him, and actually I got some abuse from some Doctor Who fan over it via another professional in the industry, and I basically said fuck off. Sorry for the swearing.
No, go ahead.
I basically said, you piss off. I don't need an excuse or permission to talk to anyone or be with anyone, and just because somebody might have an opinion you don't like doesn't mean that I shouldn't talk to them, so get stuffed. At which point they removed themselves pretty quickly.
Your opinion doesn't matter to me.
Yeah, your opinion. I don't give a shit what your opinion is. Just buy my comic.
Exactly.
Yeah, it's not about not giving a shit about opinions. It's about not doing what other people think you should do. Right. I don't like that.
Yep.
I don't like being told what to do. I never have. It's funny that we're in this world at the moment where everybody's walking on eggshells and try not to say the wrong thing in case they get cancelled and all the rest of it. And you've got all this woke bullshit going on. So, for instance, over in the UK, there's a lot of this decolonisation, and it's like, oh, hold on a minute. I hated the Queen and the royal family when I was 10. Okay, I don't want decolonisation. What are you talking about? I don't understand. I'm about as anarchic as it comes. I've never the idea of an accident of birth and the royal family. I despise it. But at the same time, if anarchy's no good. You can't just destroy everything without having some kind of replacement. And I'm sorry, but communism is not a replacement. It's just
Sadiq
stupid.
Khan?
Oh God, that guy's a knob. What a knob! I'm glad I don't live in London anymore. What a complete arsehole.
He has ruined London.
The
times that I had been there, which I've been there quite a few times, but it was, that city used to be so feeling safe, and no matter where you went, what time of the day or night you went somewhere, you always felt like you were safe.
Yeah.
Since
I used to live
in charge,
in London. Yeah.
Now it's become the murder and stabbing capital of the world, of Europe. And last time I was there, it did not feel safe at all.
No,
when I was there.
It's not the same place. There's no doubt about that. But a lot of people can't sort of get hold of the fact. So, for instance, I'll say that, but at the same time, I think that Boris Johnson's a bit of a knob. I don't like either side.
Right.
I'm completely neutral. I fucking hate them all. so I don't want anybody telling me what I should think, what I should do, how I should feel, who I should talk to, or who I should take time to be with. My view on it is, if you treat me well, if you're kind to me, if you're decent to me, if you're polite and professional, I'll talk to you. And it's as simple as that.
That's how it should be.
That's how it should be.
Yeah, that's how it should be.
So we live in this. That's enough of that stupid, crappy political bullshit. But the whole point being is that I could go on to all kinds of shows, and I really don't care. It's like it's about the people that are on there. It's all about people. And that's what
it's all about getting as many eyes as we can on your project.
And comics themselves, they're all about communication. You're giving of yourself, as in you're making this thing, you're pouring some of yourself. It doesn't matter what you do. You try and separate art and artists, which I try to do, because there's plenty of books that I buy that I don't like the people that did it, but I'm willing to look at the entertainment value. So that's a premise I live by. But at the same time, you can't not pour some of yourself into a book. So when you're doing that, you're giving some of yourself into that book. And when people buy your book, they're giving a little bit of their life. And I mean that. That's not a dramatic way of putting it. What I mean by that is time is money. You don't get anything back. You don't get any time back. time is one of those things you never get back. And so by handing over that money, believing in someone and backing someone, you're handing over a little bit of yourself in response to them putting a little bit themselves in that book. And that's what that's what comic books are all about. They're all about telling stories and connecting with other people and getting concepts and ideas across without ramming them down people's throats.
Exactly.
And letting the reader decide for themselves and have fun with it. So, for instance, in this book, there's several levels to it. One's quite meta. So I've got some ideas and concepts about spirituality and the existence and all kinds of stuff. And I've kind of sprinkled it in there. But you don't have to know about it. You can just watch two big bastards kicking the crap out of each other.
Exactly. And enjoying it.
And enjoying it. So it's like you've got to let the reader do their thing. And that's what's so important. And that's what's great about crowdfunding as well, is people can enhance that connection that they have by reading your books and taking part and being part of the backing of something. So obviously I'd like to get the stories out to a wider audience, and that may happen, as in I might be able to convert them to floppies at some point, but always the backers will always get the premium product. They'll always get the extra content, and of course the extras that go with it should they want them. But
I think that really quick, I think that Hockey has a good idea. That have you seen Kimosabi?
Yeah.
Oh my God, he's the fastest talking person I've ever seen. I think this would be hilarious.
It would be. I might have to drink first though.
Oh my God, putting those two together, man. I don't know. I don't know if YouTube could handle that much energy.
But just to finish that point off.
Yeah, sorry.
Sorry. And you can see on my campaign, I mentioned it further down the page, is that I don't believe in the idea of toxic fandom. It's that giving process. It's that connection you have with people. Everybody's got a right to say what they think. Everybody's got, if they've gone out and bought your book, then they've got a right to have a comment on it. And they shouldn't just be put down because of it. So the people that buy the books, the people that are constantly buying comic books and taking in this kind of medium, they're the people that keep it alive. So respect them, give them what they want. You don't have to do exactly what they tell you, but if you don't like their idea, you can say, thank you very much for your idea. I'll see what I can do in the next book. You don't tell them that they're a nazi and that they should go away.
Right.
So there you go.
Right. Here's, just as I'm scrolling down, here's so people can see if they haven't got your book already, that here's some of the interior artwork, which looks amazing.
Can I have 2 minutes to sort something out?
Sure.
I will be back in 2 minutes. Keep the audience happy.
Okay, I will.
2 minutes.
Okay. So as you can see, this is interior artwork for Only Death Can Save Us. And the artwork is amazing in it. The colors are amazing. The story is a great read if you haven't read it yet, with some surprises in it that'll be shocked me, like I said earlier. And here's some of the stuff you get, some of the perks. The Rob Willis one is not available, as Rob backed out on it and didn't finish it. Yeah, I'll keep it nice. Didn't complete the order for this. So he's put in some other artwork that you'll get instead of it. But yeah, people that don't complete their stuff is not, I don't like that. And here's one of the prints you get. And there was also a tier, I don't know if it's still available, that you could get original artwork as well as the poster here. And like I said before, he had a tier for a Doctor Who tier, secret tier, that I purchased as well because I like the old Doctor Who. And here was his stretch goals. So he got down to the patch here, and then he got to, I believe, this print. Did he make this print? I don't remember, but he didn't make it down to the 15,000. I think the spot UV print and the later one. But it's a great read. It's a great art. These prints are really amazing here. And he still has, I'll scroll back up really quick. He still has, he said, 8 of the magnets available from 6 a.m. Comics. So you'll get the book, the magnet, and the sticker.
And
with only 8 left.
And
the
4
print,
postcards.
Yeah. I'll open it up. Yeah, and all of the other stuff. Yeah,
Yeah.
that I was just showing, the prints and all of that, for 28 now for US, as we were saying, the stupid exchange rates. The book itself is just a graphic novel, and you'll get the other things too that came with it for the perks. Is there?
Yeah, I mean, if anyone's going to buy it, buy the top one until it's run out. Yeah, buy the magnet.
Because you've only got 8 more magnets left, and the magnet is really cool looking.
They were just extras for everybody, but I've only got those many left, so I thought I'd put it up there so that people could buy it.
So definitely get this one, because you'll get all of this and the magnet from 6 a.m. Comics. And I think everybody universally loves 6 a.m. Comics stuff, because you can always tell that it's him, because his work is so original. And let's see, where was I? There's still this one here too.
Yeah, I'll still do an A4 that's for those of you on the other side of the world. That's just over comic book size. So
yes. And look it up, because they don't match if you're in the US, they don't match our stuff. as I quickly realized when I got mine, I had to order frames for those sizes.
That's just under 30 centimeters, so it's 29.7 centimeters by 21 centimeters. There you go. And
then there was this tier, but it didn't last very long, which I thought was great, because I watched the stream, and it was Red Valkyrie made a helmet for Pestilence.
It went instantly.
It did. You put it up, and I didn't even get to click on the link, and it was already gone. I'm like, somebody was sitting there just waiting, and it was gone so fast.
Yeah. Yeah, and it came out really nice, actually. The helmet was very cool. Wise Guy's got it.
Oh, did he? Okay.
Yeah. And I went on to his show a little while ago, and he showed me the helmet. It was really cool.
Oh, okay. It was Wise Guy. Okay. Yeah, because I saw the stream when she brought it out and she had it on. I was like, oh, wow, she did a good job.
She did a great job. She's wonderful, actually.
Yeah.
She's very supportive. Does a lot of work for a lot of indie books. So
Shay's good, and now she's getting her chance to write a couple of things too, which I'm very interested to read, to see, because especially, what is a Kill Journal? That's the one I was thinking of. That she's got a short story in it.
Yeah, that book looks great.
Yes, it does.
Yeah.
Just seeing the digital copies that he was sending out it looks really good. I was like, wow, this looks better than I thought it was going to.
Yeah.
And the story is really interesting too.
I think I backed that campaign. I think I did. There's so many campaigns.
Yeah, exactly. There are.
I do try and I the only mainstream books I buy now are reprints.
Yep.
That's the only stuff I get. I think I got the Death of Captain Marvel. I think that was the last one I got.
Now if they just do that in the movies.
Yeah. Kill it with fire.
Exactly. Kill it with fire quickly.
I'd already had the Life of and Times of Captain Marvel. Brilliant stuff. And also an Adam Warlock that actually had issues in it that I can remember opening up when I was about 7.
Oh, wow.
I remember my mum and dad buying me a couple of comics for Christmas, and just sticking it in my stocking. And one of them was an Adam Warlock book with the Magus in it, and I was completely blown away by it. The other one, I believe, was, I can't remember the name of the book, but it was almost like a Double Dragon. It was 2 brothers. It wasn't Double Dragon, but it was some kind of kung fu book. But it was Marvel as well. But I remember panels from it. You know what it's like when you remember these flashes of panels. No, it wasn't. No. It was a real.
Oh, what was the one? Shang something?
Shang-Chi? Is it?
Yeah.
Something like that? I did have those as well. And I remember the artwork from those, like with the harsh, with the lighting in them, with the harsh red and the blue on either side of the the face
Right.
and what have you. Just wonderful stuff. That's something else I tried to do in my book, is make it isn't quite Bronze Age color, because I didn't go complete flat. And I put highlights and lowlights in, but I kept it simple because I just wanted this hot, sort of burst of color without getting too deep into it. Also, I was coloring it myself, but I wanted to have it look a certain way. I'm fortunate that in the next project, which we'll find out about next week, I'm going to be colored by a spectacular colorist. So I'll see a completely different side of my work. Because, when you have other people, working in a production team with you, you get to see your work in a different way. So I'll be looking forward to that.
Yeah, this secret project you've been throwing out those breadcrumbs all the time with. Oh, can't talk about it. But here, look at this piece of artwork.
You'll find out next week. You'll find out next week.
Yeah. Now I'm so excited to hear about it because all your breadcrumbs.
But eventually, I'd really like to show the book off in black and white. If I got enough demand. Which we'll see.
There's a lot of people that like the black and whites.
Yeah, I'd love to put all 3 books, when I've finished the 3 books, into a compendium and have them black and white. Maybe even have it oversized and do a hardback book of it. But
wow,
I'd need the right kind of support to get that done. It's not something you can just throw out there. But by that time, maybe I'll be able to have a publisher pick that up. I don't know. Because obviously I'll have already done the premium books, so it'll just be a reprinting of what's already there. We'll see.
Well, like I was saying when you were gone, I was saying the book is amazing. The art is great. Like you said, the colors are good, and the story is excellent as well.
Thank you.
So if you like good books, like with a superhero twist to them, like this, it's a really great book, and it's a really good read.
I've had lots of good responses. The people have been very kind, and even some detailed responses about dialogue and the way that the story worked, which obviously I'm very interested in because it's my first script. It's the first time I've written and let everybody see it. Well,
you did a good job because it's good.
Thank you. I'm very pleased.
And you threw in some nice things, like nuanced things, and like things like without giving any, again, spoilers, that like when he's sitting on his throne and she says portal.
Yeah.
Like, what? That was funny.
Yeah. I put in a few Easter eggs as well. I can tell you one, and that's a reference to Kung Fu. So have you ever watched Billy and Mandy on Cartoon Network?
No, I don't think I have.
The Grim Adventures of Billy and Mandy.
Oh no, I haven't.
All right, okay. Well, that's a definitive reference to them.
Okay.
On the double page spread. So, but there's also a couple of other bits and pieces in there. See if people can find them. I'm not going to tell you.
No, it's funny. I used to live in Burbank, and I used to live about 3 or 4 blocks away from Cartoon Network.
Oh wow.
Yeah, wow. We were on the same street. Where I lived at, and where their offices was, we were on the same street.
That's cool. I went in to see them in the middle of London because they had their European headquarters, or it wasn't much of headquarters, it had some cardboard boxes in it. But it was some nice offices just off Regent Street, and I went in to see them, and I had a good time working with them. Yeah, they seem quite nice, and when I did the Ben 10 stuff, it was a slightly different experience because I was given a very rigid design guide for the whole thing, and I had to work within that design guide. So it was partly a comic strip job, but also partly a design job as well. So I made the comic pages look as much like the show as possible.
Wow!
And they were pleased with it. I didn't get anything thrown back at me through the whole set, so I was quite pleased.
Well, that's good then.
Yeah.
Yeah, like I was saying before about Doctor Who, I was such a fan of Doctor Who that when my wife and I went to London one time, we took a train out to Cardiff and went to the Doctor Who experience.
Yeah. Yeah, yeah, that's quite cool over there.
Because I'm
Yeah.
like, hey, it's only going to be there for so long. Let's go check it out. My
down
wife
in
was like, okay.
it's down in the Bay Area, isn't it? It's
Yeah, it was not very
yeah.
far from the harbor.
Yeah,
It's like a
yeah.
10 minutes, I think, from
Yeah.
over from where the harbor was. Yeah.
Yeah, my son went to university in Cardiff, so we spent a bit of time there.
Yeah,
So,
it's beautiful.
yeah, it is. It's a lovely place.
Yeah.
It doesn't. It's the obviously it's the capital city of Wales, but it just doesn't feel like that. It feels it's got a sort of an Oxford or Cambridge feel to it.
Yeah, it does.
Yeah. It's small, but it's really nice. It's got some great buildings, but it's just a really nice place.
Like what is it? Their theater right there, right by where right by where that monolith is, where they used to film the Torchwood.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, that's where the theater is. Yeah.
Right where their entrance to Torchwood is right there. Right there.
Yeah. So you could walk past that. That was quite fun.
Yeah.
But Doctor Who was a different experience. But yeah, I'm kind of all in now. I'm certainly unemployable, but so I've got no choice but to do this for the rest of my life now.
Good.
I don't think I'd suit a mainstream publisher anymore. So
you can actually draw.
Yeah, it's this or bust, really. But like I said, I've mentioned it. I'm going to bore everybody with it, but the response I've had, I've just been so taken aback by it. And it's not just about getting 211 backers.
Well, you deserve it. It's a great project. Great book.
It's about the people. It's about the network and the people you bump into. I've made some great friends, but also just genuinely people who have bought the book, out of nowhere, because you can't remember all the names,
right?
And just texted me or DM'd me or just dropped a post or something and just said, "Oh, this is really good," and it means a huge amount, and it inspires you to be better next time. Inspires you to do more. So thoroughly enjoyed the process. I'm trying to make it so that I can condense the production schedule. So I may well get somebody else to do the color flats for me, and then I'll put the highlights and lowlights on, so I can get that process done. And I might even get someone else to do the lettering for me as well next time. So that will just cut my time down. I'll have to pay for it, but it will cut my production time down. And then if I can get to do a couple of books a year, that
make it easier on you.
Yeah, so
that you're not doing everything.
Yeah.
So you've got the Secret Project coming up, which is going to be announced next week. And then after that, you're going to be doing book 2 of Only Death Can Save Us. That's
right. Yeah, that's the plan. I hope to have a campaign out it would probably be late summer, but I'd be aiming to get the book done and printed and in people's on people's mats before Christmas.
Oh, nice. Okay. Well, I know I'm already looking forward to the next one, because after reading this one, it was like, wow, okay, give me the next one. Give me the next one.
Yeah, well, and then after that, we'll see where it goes. If the Secret Project does well, then I may be on a second round for that, and then the third book. But certainly, I'm being kept busy at the moment, which is a good thing.
That's good, yes.
Because I don't want to be left to my own devices for too long. And yeah, it's just keeping on producing and creating. Incredibly important. But I've been fortunate enough to be asked by several other people. I think Hex was in the was in the chat. He asked me to do a pin up for him, or a card, trading card. So I did a character for him. Also, I just did a pin up, which I can't show you unfortunately, for Perfect 10 and the Embrace.
Oh, okay.
So the Embrace and Perfect 10 are doing some cross marketing.
Oh, and
I think if you buy both books, you get the pin up that I've done.
Oh, nice.
For free. And I'm quite pleased with it. Actually, the Perfect 10, the Embrace is a great looking character. Perfect 10 is a great book. if you can, I think their campaign is coming out in a few days' time. Get number one as well. I bought number one.
Oh, okay.
And the Rogues Gallery is just brilliant. I mean,
Oh,
Perfect 10
nice.
is quite a good character, in her own right. But the bad guys, they're so diverse. And when I say diverse, I don't mean diverse. I mean they're all different.
Yeah.
They're really good, and the artwork is incredibly fun, very stylistic, really nice stuff. So yeah, I definitely say I think it's Dave Brink. Pick up Perfect 10, brilliant book, and Embrace, which is looking really good as well. Take
Yeah,
a
it
look
does.
at
The
that.
character design is really cool on that one, on the Embrace. And I think we just froze. But yeah, so the character on Embrace looks really cool with its costume
10
and
sort of jumping through the air. Am I
Sorry,
back?
a second.
Am I back?
Yeah, you're back.
All right, okay. I don't know what that was. I got to draw both of them, like kind of jumping into a scenario where the bad guys are. And,
Cool.
That was really good fun. Really good fun. So yeah, I've had other people ask me to draw stuff for them, and that's just, it's good being part of other people's projects. You feel like, first off, you're getting work, which is always good, but also you're getting involved in other people's stuff, and there's so much creativity at the moment. Indie comics at the moment is the industry, as far as I'm concerned. So it might not be the industry as far as total money gained or turned over, but it's certainly where all the creativity is, where all the energy is, all the drive and the passion. It's where all the passion is, without a doubt.
It's funny. I don't know if you know, but the co-creator, as he put it, of Embrace is right here. It's in the chat right now. Comics Mate.
Hello.
He's the co-creator of it, or he prefers co-creator and visual director.
Oh, there you go. That sounds very important. Does that mean he passed my work? I hope so.
Let's see. Oh, he said he's deliberately avoiding it so that he can see it at the same time as everyone else.
Ah, right. Okay.
Nice.
Not because, it's so hideous I can't look at it.
Nice.
Cool.
So, yeah, I was complimenting the character because I think the design of the character is really cool looking for the Embrace.
It is. It's bonkers looking, actually.
Yeah.
I had to look at it a few times and go, oh, that's how it works. So obviously I had to investigate it quite a bit to draw. It's
because when you first see it, you don't realize what the outfit does. It's like, what?
You think it's maybe graphics on the outfit or something, and then you realize what's going on, and you're like, right, okay, that's a bit odd. But that's what's great about those kind of things. Very original, like that.
Yeah, it's very original.
Yeah. So yeah, lots of good stuff out there, and when people ask me to be involved, it's a real honor, actually, for people to let you into their little worlds and say, yeah, can you do a little bit of this? It's good. It's good fun. Varies the job up as well. You get to do lots of different things. Wear lots of different coats. He's doing the best to carry the dead weight that is Michael.
Oh,
that's harsh.
Yeah.
Michael's not dead.
That's Mo. Yeah, maybe I'll have to talk to you about some maybe do some stuff for me on a project I'm working on.
Yeah. You just give me a shout.
I love your art, so you know that because
man,
I bought a bunch of it. So your art was amazing.
Always, everybody out there, I'm always open to talking about commissions and bits and pieces like that. I can always find time. However, let's say I won't ever overload myself so that people don't get what they've requested.
Mm-hmm.
Let's just put it that way.
Yeah, I kind of mentioned a little of that when you were gone. When I went
through
when I went through your prints available.
Yes.
I did not like that.
No, but it's just it's one of those things. It is what it is.
Right.
No bad feeling there. It happened. But you know, what I did get was some very sound advice, because these things happen. You know, they do happen. And so I was a little bit sort of taken aback, but you know, you got to get on with it.
Right.
And things happen to people. You've got to give them the benefit of the doubt, and fine. But I got some good advice about what to offer as a alternative. And so
and they look really good too.
I put up that offer as an alternative, and nobody got in touch with me. They just went, yeah, okay, we'll take the first one. So I actually got 2 sets printed, but so a couple of people got seconds. So for instance, I think you might have got one of the Arrow 4.0 pinups, because you'd done so much to help. I wanted to give you some extra stuff. So that's actually that pinup is the cover to the Arrow 4.0 anthology, like I say, which will be out on Indiegogo next month. I've got a couple of Arrow comics, because you had to get them from comic shops. You couldn't get them anywhere else, and they were only a few comic shops imported them in the UK. And I had a couple of those comics, and I always thought they were quite cool. So to be asked to do that, I was quite chuffed, actually. The guy over there, Arrow Comics 4.0, is Randy Zimmerman, and he's been in and around comics for a long time. So it was really, really nice to be asked to do that, and also put the backup story in there first, and then have it in the second book in color. So it sort of spreads hopefully spreads the cognizance, the awareness of Only Death Can Save Us, and the world that they inhabit. And sort of gets the idea out there, and sort of hopefully I can get to other audiences that way. Because it's all about, like, you know, as we were saying earlier, about stories, connecting with people. But what you want to do is you want to get more and more people reading it, so you can connect with more and more people. That's the whole idea of doing it. Hopefully I can do that with Arrow Comics as well.
Yeah, I mean, it's a great book. It deserves to be, deserves to have more backers, because it's a really good book. I mean,
thank you.
It's one of my favorites now that I've read it and saw it and everything. It's one of my favorites now that I've received now.
Thank you. I wanted it to be. Where are we? I wanted it to be, because it's matte cover on the front, and I went for uncoated paper, which does make it smell a bit.
Yep.
Lovely. But I kind of based it on the Marvel one-shots from the mid-90s, as far as the printing was concerned, and the design. I went back and looked through several books that I loved from the period, and this is loosely based on those books, and it just came out feeling really nice. The print, I'm so pleased. It just like a lot of guys, I'm using Mixam. So if anybody wants to know, I got it printed at Mixam, and they were solid, absolutely solid. I got all the prints done there as well. Originally, I was thinking of going to Instant Print or a couple of other local printers that I've used, but they were so good with what they'd done for me up until the point that I went for the main book, that I just went with them for the whole thing. What was great was I could get a digital proof. So I got the whole book done in a digital print for about $40. Including postage. So it meant that I could look through. Obviously, the colors aren't 100% identical, but they're very, very close to Litho Press, which meant that I could look through and see mistakes or work out where things were and weren't right. I had changed the cover graphics slightly and all kinds of stuff, and it was really worthwhile doing that. So yeah, I'd definitely shout out Mixam for that. They're a great printer. Certainly, if you're in Europe or if you're in the UK, use them.
Yeah, I was going to say, I thought they're in the UK, right?
Yeah, they're all over the world apparently. Oh, but I think a lot of guys in the States use them. But definitely in the UK, if you're getting a book printed, I can recommend them.
Nice. Yeah, I've heard several people say that they're using them, and several of them had mentioned that they were in the UK. So I was like, oh, okay.
Yeah, well, I'd looked them up and gone and investigated them and looked at their pricing structure prior to anybody saying anything about Mixam.
Oh,
And then I found out that other people were using them sort of in the indie network, and thought, well, let's give it a go. And I'll definitely be going with them next time. Yeah, great service as well. Quite, easy to get hold of, the people that are there. But yeah, the whole book came out. I was really, really pleased with the way it came out. Really pleased with the responses. Somebody said the nicest thing to me the other day. They said because they were keen on the old Marvel books and what have you, reprints. He said he could just pick up my book, and if there was a bunch of reprints from Bronze Age 80s, early 90s Marvel sitting on his coffee table, he could imagine my book sitting there amongst the group. And,
wow.
and that said everything to me. It was like,
yeah,
blimey, what a thing to say. I couldn't get much more of a compliment because that's exactly what I was aiming for.
yeah, nailed it.
Nailed it. Yeah, and another person was talking about the interaction between Dee and Chrissy and the conversation and how it worked. And just how much they enjoyed that, and that meant a lot to me as well, because obviously I'm a fledgling writer, and I wanted to get that kind of stuff right, and people enjoyed it. So yeah, I can't really ask for much more.
No, you did a great job.
I've now got to top it. That's the trouble.
Yeah. See, now you're like, I brought in another writer, so he's got to top it.
No. Rick's got to do the job on this. Yeah. Rick knows what he's doing. He's worked for Disney, Marvel, DC. I think he's worked for Marvel. Yeah, he did a Spider-Man thing. DC. He does a lot of. I think he's been working with games production companies. Like on scripting and stories and stuff.
Yeah.
So he's absolutely done the circuit. He knows what he's doing.
Good. Yeah. Awesome.
We bumped together via Doctor Who. It's amazing who you network with. And I bumped into Rick. He did a couple of stories for Doctor Who. And then after Doctor Who had finished, a couple of years ago, he approached me and said, do you fancy doing a couple of submissions? So we did a submission to DC for Blue Devil. And we also did a couple of original stories. I think we went to different companies. But unfortunately, none of them took. But he connected me with a company that I worked with that was doing AI driven comic books. So effectively what we did was we took French comic books and took the panels and slightly animated them. So for instance, I would have to be art director, curator and illustrator, where I took panels and updated them so that they could work on a tablet. Also, where some would animate over the top, and then I'd have to, in some cases, completely recreate a new panel in the style of the artist that had made the book.
Oh.
So I did that for 4 or 5 books, and the whole story was driven by an AI. So it wasn't just you making choices. The story itself would make its own choices in which way to drive you according to the emotional responses it got from you, which is quite creepy. But they were quite cool, and I was working with that. Rick had put me on to the managing director there, the creative lead, and we'd got together and I did that work for them. And then the coof turned up and all my business dropped off a cliff. And at that point I thought, well, damn it, this is meant to be. Take the opportunity. And that's where I'd already written the script for Only Death Can Save Us. And in that January, so in January of last year, I'd put out a preview, the 8-page preview on the onlydeathcansaveus.com website. And so from there on, I just thought, well, sod it. I'm just going to take the opportunity, and I made the book.
Yeah. So, I got to check out the website because I didn't even know about that.
Oh, yeah. It's onlydeathcansaveus.com. It's going to have some some updates actually. But yeah, it's there. There's also something I haven't put on my own website is the link to the shop. So I've got a tea store, whatever it is. You'll have to forgive me. I'm a bit of a boomer. Also, I'm drinking far too much Jack Daniels. There's Teespring. That's it.
Teespring. Okay, yeah.
Teespring. And so there's shirts there with Only Death Can Save Us on, and the comic book black belt logo and all that kind of stuff. But I'm going to be putting more stuff up there. So, for instance, this 6 a.m. art will go on a T-shirt now. I just
awesome.
haven't got around to doing it yet. That's
right.
all. But yeah, that's so that you can get through all that. Get to all that from onlydeathcansaveus.com.
Okay, I have to do that and bookmark that because I want to see that. That looks awesome.
Also, something else that I was totally blown away with was the fan art section. So I got a whole bundle of fan art from people, and which I was totally taken aback by, and so I put it all up there on the onlydeathcansaveus.com website. And there's a fan art section that you can go through as well, which is pretty cool.
That's how you know you've done something. It's when people start giving you've inspired other people to draw your characters. That is amazing.
That just absolutely blew me away. Yeah, and some of it is, well, all of it's great, but there's a couple on there that are just like, wow, they're really good. I don't want to show that.
Hey, those guys are way too good. What are they doing over here?
So yeah. But we'll see where it takes us. I'm committed. I'm pretty much committed now that I'm going to do the 3 books. No, there's no pretty much. I'm committed. I'm doing the 3 books.
Good.
Because I feel like I've connected. Like I said earlier, and people are enjoying it, and you get hungry to get that vision out there for people to see it. There's a bit of a meta going on with the art. So as everyone knows, I'm inspired by Bronze Age artists and stories. So I was very much focused on a clean of line approach in this book. So I would say the main inspiration artistically would be probably the Buscema Sinnott run on Fantastic Four. But in the next book, I'll be moving away from that art and moving more towards a sort of a Jim Starlin wacky, more wacky layout, if you like. And that approach, and then in the 3rd book I'll be going to an early 90s approach. So not Jim Lee, not all the not all that sort of like boobs and everything. I won't be going that way, but sort of as the Bronze Age worked its way through into the early 90s and eventually became the 90s. That particular style. So I won't go as far as that, but effectively you've got that broad brush of Bronze Age and 80s work. So I'll be adapting the artwork slightly, but it's still going to be me. It's still going to be, the way that I draw. It's just I'm going to pump up the volume, as it were, on it, and see what else I can extract out of it. So all 3 books will be a journey visually as well.
Wow. And well, we've seen that or I've seen, because I've got the package, that you can draw. You draw different styles very well. It's like you did the Doctor Who stuff, which looks nothing like this stuff. No. And then you did, and then you can do these different styles. So it's like whatever style you want to do at the time. Or are you going for more of a, this is going to be my style now?
No, I mean, what I've got in there in Only Death Can Save Us is the base. It's the core. So I'm just adding to it, really. But like I was saying about changing it up, so maybe not doing as much digital work and doing more traditional work, so it gives a slightly different texture to the art. I mean, I don't want to get too poncy about it. because I'm, I don't really do Ponzi. But yeah, just sort of, adding something that you want to add something. You don't just want to stay exactly the same. You want to give people more of what they enjoy, but at the same time, you want to give them something extra on top. So there's a little bit of a journey, a meta journey in the art. It's not extravagant. It's just a little bit of fun. But the general feel and tone will remain that sort of that Bronze Age feel. As far as my style moving forward is concerned, I'll see where I go. See what happens. In the secret project, it will be. I suppose it will be more like maybe what book 2 of Only Death Can Save Us will be like. So I'll be reaching a little bit further. I'll be using more traditional brushwork rather than digital brushwork, and just seeing where it takes me.
Yeah, because you were saying do you like doing the pencils on the computer and then inking it?
Yeah, that I've found a bit of a niche for myself doing it that way. I've only really come to it in the last 6 months. I've been doing traditional work for a long time, but usually for commissions, sketch covers, that kind of stuff. But I rebought a load of new materials last year and got myself a whole bunch of new brushes as well, brush pens.
Oh, nice.
And they're wonderful. It's just so much control. I really enjoy using them. So I thought, right, well, what the hell? I'm going to do some pages from the book and put them up as tiers, put them up as perks, and see, if that takes. And like you and a couple other people bought those, so I was really pleased with that. And everybody seemed to be very pleased with the outcome. So I've been doing more and more of that kind of work. The first thing you'll see from this new project will be turnarounds, and I'm actually going to be inking them up over the weekend. So you'll see some brushwork again next week once they become public.
This secret project.
What I can tell you is cows and capes. So there you go.
Cows and capes. Okay. Oh, now, yeah, like I told you, I'm looking forward to that now because you've been doing these breadcrumb teases. Like, still can't tell you anything, but here, look at some art I did. Here you go.
Well, I've slowly been coming back onto streams after Christmas because obviously I was getting fulfillment done in January and what have you, and I've slowly been working my way back and dropping in every now and then in different streams and saying hi to people. But I'll be back sort of. In the next couple of weeks, I'll be back full on. I put a video up today on my own channel. That's the first time I put one up in 6 weeks, I think. And there'll be some more, like I said earlier, there'll be some more breakdowns of the art from Only Death Can Save Us, and some lessons learned as well from the campaign, so that if my experiences can help anyone else, that that's a bonus. And then I'll be moving on to what's next.
Yeah, so there's a good question you just stepped into, was what did you learn from this campaign that's going to help you, or to help you not do next time, or it's going to help you do better on your next campaign?
Yeah, I pretext all my answers with with the support and help I got from other creators. So that's why I'm very passionate about passing on what I know to other people, or what I've learned to other people, and if it's of any help to them, brilliant. So like say Michael Bancroft helped me a lot with the campaign, and there were other people in there that did a lot of work for me. Captain Fuckerhead, Coparticus was very helpful. Thank you very much, mate. But also a whole bunch of the guys over there with him, and a few other people who were extremely helpful, and it really made a difference. So after putting all that together, it actually meant that there weren't a huge number of things that I erred on. So I would say that I cocked up on the initial campaign with some retail pricing, which I won't be doing again next time. I didn't realize, and then I couldn't take the retail price off. So I ended up having to duplicate all the tiers and put them on and say so many of these had been claimed by then. So I won't be doing that again. Just a simple error, but I won't be doing that again. Getting the right campaign videos, that's important. I don't think you can ever do enough going around sort of jumping on people's streams and saying hi and sort of introducing yourself and connecting with an audience. You can never do enough of that.
Yeah.
But I think I did a reasonable job of getting the word out. But yeah, you can never do enough of that. I gave over some advice to some other people who were coming over from Kickstarter to Indiegogo, and that is the same advice that Michael gave me is about the product. Product is king. Don't go on about why you love comics so much and why you want to make a comic and where the profits are going. Show people what the product is. Have you got a good product, and do they want to buy it? That's the bottom line. I know this is crowdfunding and you're effectively backing a project, but it is for a product. Okay. Right. So people want to see that first. So show people what they're there for. So that's a lesson that I learned, although I didn't necessarily get it wrong. It's certainly something that I learned more about through the process. Making sure something else that again, I don't think I completely got wrong. I think I probably got mostly right, but getting the number of tiers right, the number of perks right. You don't want to overcomplicate it.
Right.
Certainly I've learned about add-ons, and I'll do maybe more add-ons next time. But make them very clear in the campaign page what your add-ons are. So it's all sort of technical stuff like that. I'm going to have to list it all down for the video that I do make, and make sure that I cover all those points off. But for me, a very UK centric, although your post is ridiculously priced out there. I'm not sending A3s. I think somebody mentioned something about A3s. I was concerned. Nice to meet you, Dojo Kun Comics. You were on a stream the other day that I was on. I'm sure you were. The postage side of things. That somebody mentioned it in the chat that I think it was Michael Bancroft actually folded his over in a plastic sleeve. So I'm going to wait until I get the Lucian, because I backed that book, and see exactly what that looks like. And if that's something that works, then maybe I'll do that in the future and continue doing A3 posters.
Right.
But I'm definitely not sending one out in a tube ever again, because it's just it was more expensive to send the tube than it was to send the book.
Yeah. Well, the way you sent me mine worked perfectly.
Yeah, that's because you got yours DHL.
Right. Well, it was a big.
It was a massive, yeah. But you bless you, had bought quite a bit from me. You pledged a couple of times and got some really, certainly. Whenever I'm sending artwork out, that has to be done properly. It must be sent correctly. So you benefited from that, because obviously I could put everything else into the same package that the artwork went out in. It arrived in perfect condition, no problems. And I've not, touch wood, I've had one person say to me they moved. And did I have a tracking number for it? And I said, no, don't worry, I'll just send you another one out. And I sent them another one out.
You're supposed to update them when you move.
There was an update and everything. I put a proper update up and said, look, you must do this, because I'm going to. But he obviously didn't see that. He didn't get the memo. But such is life, and there's no point in getting hung up on that. So I just sent him another one.
That is one of the nice things. Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
I think he's going to miss out on the sticker and the magnet, but never mind.
That is one of the nice things about CG and the people in it. They're so helpful with everything. I mean, you ask them a question and they they want to help everybody.
Yeah.
They want everybody to succeed, and they don't want to like, oh no, this is all about me. I'm not sharing that information with anybody.
Absolutely. I came from the mainstream into indies. I wasn't looking for CG. Okay, I stumbled across it, and I didn't stumble across it because of CG. I stumbled across it because of the creators that I was talking to. And I stumbled across a whole bunch of people that were just genuine, decent people who just wanted to make books. And that was like, the little foray we had into politics earlier. I don't give a shit what people think or say about other people. I want to find out from the horse's mouth.
Right.
Okay.
Yeah.
I don't just go. It's not fair to do that. To just tar everyone with one brush or whatever. And as far as I was concerned, it's all crap anyway. The internet is full of shit. So I'm too old. I'm too old for that shit. I really am. So I just, but Pete, the guys that I bumped into, girls and guys, let's get that right in case I offend someone. Everyone I've bumped into has been so kind and so generous with their time, and it's just what a fantastic place the indies are to be. It's where everything is, and the CG crowd, wow, just wow, And I've bought so many books. The last book, what was the last book I bought? I bought one from Robert Geronimo. I got one from Vinny. In fact, I've bought two books from Vinny now. I got Through the Woods.
Yeah.
In hardback. Wow, what a book that is! And so there's just so much talent out there, and so
what
much
an incredible!
energy.
That is one of the most incredible hardbacks I've ever seen.
Yeah, absolutely stunning.
I did a review of that on one of my streams I did, and I knocked on it to show people how solid this is. And I can't remember who it was. Somebody in the chat went, "Oh, thanks. My dog just started barking."
Nice.
And I'm like, it does. It sounds like somebody's knocking on your door. It's so impressive.
It's a gorgeous book. But I mean, I buy the books that I like. It's as simple as that. And I'll talk to the people that I like. I mean, I've got who's that tall, skinny guy that everybody hates? Bigfoot Bill.
Oh yes. Yeah, I can't remember his name.
Doug Tenable.
Yes, Doug Tenable. Yes.
Wow, what a book that is, and that's completely not my kind of thing. But I just looked at the artwork and just thought that looks fabulous, and I bought myself a book. It was a bit expensive on the postage, but I thoroughly enjoyed that book. So I will get books from all over the place, and I do buy stuff from Kickstarter on occasionally. I went to Indiegogo because, damn it, it was a better interface. I came at it from a business perspective. This was a much better platform to communicate and to get a campaign going. But the network that surrounds Indiegogo at the moment is brilliant. There's just so many great people, on there and working. So it shows some respect. He prefers to be called Dirtworm. So yeah, I kind of, like I say, I don't like to be told what to do, and I like to make my own decisions, and I like to buy books. I've got my. I don't know if I can. I'll just show you quickly.
It's like,
I don't know if you'll be able to see.
It's like discovering CG is like discovering like the whole, bringing back your love of stuff you thought was gone. With the mainstream.
Exactly. Well, that's exactly it, because I can't turn the light on. That's my library of books up there. That's half the library up there.
Oh, wow!
So I have quite a collection. But yeah, it's just mainstream books. I've not been buying new mainstream books for quite some time now. I've been buying a lot of reprints. And I love the old. I've got a lot of the old essentials. You got some of those?
I don't know.
Hold on a sec.
But like I was saying, I have a friend who owns a comic book stores here, and their biggest sellers are back issues. So, I mean, they don't even bother anymore.
So,
okay.
So books like that, the essential range.
Let me see.
Here you go.
Oh, okay.
And this is all from 60s, 70s Marvel.
Oh,
Look at
okay.
that.
I have seen those. Yes, I've never.
Fucking look at that.
Wow.
Do you see? Look at the power and the energy. John Buscema drawing there, and Sinnott inking over the top. Just superb stuff. I mean,
Back when comic
page,
books were.
a page like that.
Wow. That's
Look at that. That's powerful. Incredibly, and there's no color on that. Now that's art. That's when comics were just
right.
nailing it, as far as I was concerned. And don't get me wrong, I'm very impressed with a lot of modern artists. Maybe not the most modern, but certainly recent artists. But I don't know that they're telling stories the way they used to be told.
Yeah.
You know, they're not doing it.
Well, these days you could do a new book called "How Not to Draw the Marvel Way."
But if I can,
it all looks like trash. It's like,
exactly, oh, no. Exactly. There is a lot of crap out there, but it's about the craft.
Yeah.
If I pick out, I can show you some of the Marvel stuff I did.
Well, what I was saying when you were getting your book to the chat was that I have friends who own a comic book chain here in Florida, and
right.
They said that they're making most of their money now off of back issues.
That doesn't surprise me.
They don't sell any new issues hardly, and it's all coming off of back issues, and then they're having to expand their inventory for other things just so they can stay afloat. Yeah,
no, that doesn't surprise me at all.
Yeah.
It's the thing is it's where all the good stories are as well.
Right.
It's not just about the art. It's the stories. It's like I was saying earlier about making the book really accessible, and being able to pick one up even in the middle of a story, and still enjoy it. You know, because it's you've got that story in that particular issue, as well as the connective tissues to the other issues.
Yeah. So, exactly, Mo. It shots
like I'm not Starfire.
There's some of what I'm talking about. Yes.
you see, it's all come round the other way. I'm probably going to get shot down by the chat now. Some of the artwork in I'm Not Starfire is actually quite. I'll preface this. Okay. I used to think that art had to be a certain way. Okay. And that's a very naive way of looking at art. And I've subsequently found that since I had my Kirby moment and realized that Kirby wasn't crap, he was actually a genius. And I could see what he was doing with his art and how good it was, and that you didn't have to have it didn't have to be exactly realistic. That there was this thing about comic book art and this exceptional way of making things work on a page. It's like it's one of these. It's a medium that effectively it's moving without it actually moving. It's completely unique. There's nothing else like comic books. And it's that appreciation of that art which kind of taught me that, you know, as a young man, things that I would say, oh, that's shit, I'm not looking at that. No, you have to give things a second look. You have to take things in and be mature about it. And that's the only way to improve your own style, is to have that rounded view of art. So that pretext there, some of the artwork that I've seen from that Starfire thing, for what it is actually nice artwork.
Yeah.
Okay. For a DC superhero book, it's fucking awful.
Right.
Okay.
Exactly.
So it's in the wrong place.
Yeah.
So it disturbs me that none of these people have got any kind of business brain. If you want new markets, if you want to open new markets and find new readers, develop new characters to entice those readers in, do it. But don't throw the other stuff in the bin.
Right.
And then stop the people that used to buy all your stuff buying anything. Surely you want both audiences. You want all audiences. Comics are for everyone. Make them for everyone and make them for all audiences.
Right.
But it seems that they're cutting their nose off to spite their face. and I don't understand it.
Well, like some of them have said, it doesn't matter anymore what the product is or what it is. It's all about us using it as a platform for for what we want to say.
Yeah, it's all about beating you over the head with what we think instead of giving you a story. Instead of entertainment, it's it's got to be edutainment,
right?
With the premise on edu, and it's crap. Just like entertain us. Do I not entertain you? Just entertain us, for fuck's sake.
Exactly.
And that's all you want. That's what you want from a comic. I mean, I am very shallow. Okay, I really like films with big explosions,
right?
And I like mad fighty comics. Okay, I like that stuff. I'm shallow and I like it. It doesn't mean that you can't have something else in that story, like I tried to do, that touches on things that make a deeper story, that make people think. And the education part of it, I read comics when I was a kid, and it gave me a vocabulary.
Yep.
And I would never have read Lord of the Rings if I hadn't have read Thor. So that's the way things work. And it seems to me that the mainstream has got it arse upwards, and they just approach comics in the wrong way. I mean, I know they're still selling 20,000 or 30,000 a month, which is more than I'm selling. But you'd think that a massive companies like that should be selling literally hundreds of thousands of the best, not just 100,000. Like if you just look at the American market, there's 350 million people in America, which means that there must be somewhere in the region of, I don't know, 40 million children, 40 million people under the age of 16. Well, that's a great market.
Yeah.
Okay. But if you're not actually showing those people the comics, they're not going to buy them.
Right.
So the direct market, to a degree, has not helped. It was the first nail in the coffin, because as soon as you take them off the newsstand, or as soon as you take them away from being visible, then you're not going to buy something you can't see.
Right.
And then on top of that, if you start, putting stories out that all it is just beating people over the head with an idea that an editor or a writer has got, instead of trying to entertain them and putting those ideas into a story in a way that people can make their own minds up with, then you lose your audience. So that's a long way around it. Sorry.
Yeah. Well, I think we're going to end there, as we've been going for 2 hours now, and I know it's late for you.
Yeah, it's getting on now. Yeah, I'm running out of whiskey.
Okay. Well, everyone, check out Russ Leach's Only Death Can Save Us on Indiegogo, and as he said, his secret project that he's been sprinkling around on Twitter, he'll be announcing next week. So check that out, and check out his Only Death Can Save Us website as well for other merch and stuff as well.
Thank you.
And when this video, I didn't announce it on last video, but when this video is up, it'll be going down after so many days, and then I'll put it on my live channel, because I guess YouTube hates live streams, so they penalize your channel if you leave them up too much, is what I found out. So I'm like, oh, okay.
Really?
So,
is that the case?
Yeah. So everybody's creating a second channel now to put all the live stream stuff up there and keeping it videos on one channel, so that you don't get penalized by YouTube. So
the live streams that end up going to your channel, you should take them off there and leave them up on another channel. Yeah, everybody says leave them up for a few days or so many days, however you want to work it, and then take them down and put them up on your other channel, because if you have all live streams on one channel, they won't penalize it, because you don't care about, that's not your main channel. Right. Okay. So I started doing that too. So I will put this one up in a few days, however many days I decide to leave it up, and then it'll go over there to the other one so people can view it anytime they want. Okay, cool. So, well, thanks for watching tonight, and thanks to Russ for coming on. And thank you.
After a second try of trying to get him on.
Thanks for listening to my inane drivel.
Yeah, anytime. And we'll see you in the next Creator Truths. Bye.
Cheers all. Das Vidania.